Have you ever wondered how our primitive ancestors found true love without dating apps or fancy dinners? Long before internet connection existed, prehistoric dating was a high-stakes game of survival and genetic compatibility. Forget about romantic candlelit tables or picking someone up at a modern local bar. Back then, choosing the wrong partner didn't just mean an awkward evening, it meant potential extinction for your bloodline. Recent archaeological findings at the famous Blombos Cave in South Africa reveal fascinating details about early human relationships. Scientists discovered that early humans used unique red ochre body paint and rare shell beads to signal their relationship status. Imagine a world where your outfit isn't just fashion, but a direct biological resume to attract a mate. A healthy young caveman would step out of his dark cave, looking around the vast, dangerous landscape. His messy, unkempt brown hair blows in the harsh wind as his large, expressive round eyes scan the horizon. He is wearing a simple brown, primitive fur tunic, looking for someone special from a neighboring tribe. Suddenly, a young cavewoman appears from behind a massive, ancient, mossy boulder. She also wears a neat fur tunic, with delicate rows of polished seashells tied around her neck. The male caveman freezes, his tiny black pupils widening slightly with primitive excitement. In prehistoric times, eye contact was the very first step of the ultimate courtship ritual. However, staring too aggressively could be misinterpreted as a declaration of war or a threat. So, our caveman performs a clumsy yet gentle gesture, showing his open hands to prove he carries no weapons. He holds no sharp flint blades, no heavy wooden clubs, and no dangerous hunting spears. Trust was the ultimate currency in a world where predators hid behind every single bush. The cave woman smiles cautiously, observing his physical posture and general health indicators. Good posture and strong muscles meant this individual could hunt giant mammoths and protect future children. Then comes the second phase of prehistoric dating, the exchange of survival gifts. The caveman reaches into his primitive fur pouch and pulls out a massive, juicy piece of cooked meat. This is not just a random snack. It is a display of supreme hunting skills and provider capability. Studies of ancient hunter-gatherer teeth show that high-protein diets were highly valued and attractive. The cavewoman accepts the delicious grilled meat, nodding her appreciation with a wide grin. In return, she offers him a handful of rare, brightly colored wild berries she gathered earlier. This simple trade established a fundamental economic partnership between the two individuals. But primitive courtship was not just about food. It required an artistic touch to seal the deal. The caveman proudly points to a nearby flat stone wall inside his family cave. On the stone surface, he has painted a magnificent red ochre silhouette of a running wild horse. Archaeological evidence from Lascaux Cave proves that artistic talent was a major sign of high cognitive intelligence. The cavewoman walks closer to the wall, gently running her fingers over the smooth pigment. She is genuinely impressed by his creative intellect and symbolic thinking abilities. Now it is time for the final and most crucial test of prehistoric compatibility: the dance. The caveman begins to rhythmically stomp his bare feet on the dry, dusty ground. He claps his hands in a steady, hypnotic beat, mimicking the natural pulse of the wild earth. The cavewoman joins in, moving her body gracefully to the primitive acoustic rhythm. Dancing together proved their physical coordination, cardiovascular stamina, and neurological health. It was the ultimate biological screening process developed over thousands of generations. As the sun begins to set over the jagged, distant prehistoric mountains, they stand side by side. The orange sky casts long, dramatic silhouettes of the new couple across the grassy valley. They have successfully negotiated the complex, silent rules of early human attraction. No words were spoken, yet a profound emotional and evolutionary bond has just been formed. Together, they walk back into the safety of the cave, ready to face the brutal ice age as a team. They will share chores, protect the fire, and raise the next generation of resilient human survivors. Their ancient romance is the reason why humanity survived and flourished across the entire planet. Next time you swipe right on a modern app, Remember the silent dances of your ancient ancestors. Love has always been our greatest survival mechanism throughout the history of the world. Our genes carry the memory of these ancient, beautiful, and wild courtship rituals. From the depths of the prehistoric caves to the modern world, the quest for connection never changes. Let us take a deeper look at how seasonal changes affected these primitive relationships. During the harsh, freezing winters, finding a mate became an urgent matter of keeping warm. A single caveman shivering alone in a dark corner had a much lower chance of surviving the frost. Therefore, tribal gatherings around massive bonfires were organized during the winter solstice. These multi-tribe events were the prehistoric version of a massive music and dating festival. Dozens of young individuals from different regions would gather under one enormous cavern roof. The air was filled with the thick smell of roasting meat and burning pine wood resin. Our main caveman character is present at one of these grand winter gatherings, looking curious. He notices that the dynamic here is much faster and more competitive than a simple one-on-one encounter. Rival males from northern clans are showing off their massive scars won from fighting cave bears. Scars were symbols of ultimate bravery, physical resilience, and elite warrior status. Our caveman doesn't have giant bear scars, so he must rely on a different strategy to stand out. He steps forward into the center of the firelight, holding a primitive flute made of a bird bone. Anthropologists have found 40,000-year-old bone flutes in caves across Europe, proving music's ancient roots. He blows into the hollow bone, producing a hauntingly beautiful, clear melody that echoes through the cavern. The chaotic chatter of the crowd suddenly stops as everyone turns to listen to the sweet sound. Music has the unique power to calm aggression and foster deep social cohesion among strangers. The same cave woman from before looks at him through the dancing flames, her eyes sparkling with joy. She steps out from the crowd, holding a small clay pot filled with rare, fragrant herbal oils. She gently applies a drop of the scented oil to his forehead as a public sign of her exclusive interest. This public display effectively warns other rival males that this specific hunter is now taken. The surrounding crowd cheers, stomping their feet and clapping their hands in communal approval. Prehistoric marriages required the blessing and acceptance of the entire tribal community to function. A couple supported by the tribe had access to shared resources, collective protection, and childcare. As the winter festival continues, the newly formed couple sits closely together by the warm embers. They wrap a large, thick mammoth hide over both of their shoulders to block the freezing drafts. This symbolic act of sharing a blanket signified the official beginning of their domestic life together. Genetic studies show that these inter-tribe matches prevented the dangerous effects of close inbreeding. By mixing bloodlines between distant clans, early humans ensured their offspring had superior immune systems. This genetic diversity was the secret weapon that helped Homo sapiens outlast the Neanderthals. As the long winter night deepens, the couple watches the sparks fly up into the dark cave ceiling. They know that tomorrow they must face the brutal winter winds to gather firewood together. But they are no longer alone against the harsh, unforgiving forces of primordial nature. They have each other's strength, warmth, and dedication to ensure their mutual survival. The bond they forged in the firelight will endure through the coldest seasons of the ancient world. Let us now fast forward to the arrival of spring and the challenges of early parenthood. The ice melts, rivers flow, and the green valley blooms with new life and abundant resources. Inside the cozy cave, the cavewoman gently cradles a tiny, helpless newborn baby wrapped in soft rabbit fur. The caveman stands guard at the entrance, holding his heavy flint spear with absolute alertness. Human babies are born incredibly vulnerable compared to the offspring of other wild animals. This biological reality meant that long-term monogamy and cooperation were absolutely essential for survival. A single mother could not hunt and protect a newborn infant simultaneously without starving. The father's continuous presence and dedication were the literal line between life and death for the infant. Our caveman walks inside, gently touching the tiny hand of his new primitive son. He drops a collection of soft feathers and colorful stones next to the baby as early toys. The cave woman smiles, seeing the strong paternal instinct in her chosen life partner. This division of labor created the very foundational structure of the human family unit we know today. Evolution favored males who stayed to protect their families over those who abandoned them. As the days pass, the young family thrives, learning the delicate balance of prehistoric domestic life. They teach their child the sounds of dangerous predators and the locations of sweet water springs. But prehistoric life is never peaceful for long as a sudden crisis hits the Green Valley. A massive summer wildfire breaks out, sending thick, suffocating black smoke across their home territory. The caveman wakes up instantly, smelling the distinct, terrifying odor of burning dry grass. He alerts his partner, and they quickly gather their most essential survival tools. The cave woman ties the baby securely to her chest using strong leather straps. Together, they run out of the smoky cave, looking for a safe escape route down the rocky mountain. The path is dangerous, covered in loose stones and surrounded by panicking wild animals. A large, frightened prehistoric stag suddenly charges past them through the thick gray haze. The caveman leaps forward, using his large body to shield his wife and child from the charging beast. He gets knocked down onto the hard ground, scraping his arm against a sharp rock edge. But he rises immediately, ignoring the sharp pain to keep his family moving forward. They finally reach a wide, cool river that acts as a natural barrier against the roaring flames. They plunge into the shallow water, splashing across to the safe, unburned green side. Exhausted and covered in black soot, they collapse onto the soft, damp grass of the new riverbank. The cave woman immediately checks the baby, who is completely safe and completely unharmed. She looks at her husband's bleeding arm with deep concern and profound gratitude. She uses clean river water to wash the soot and dirt away from his fresh wound. Then, she applies crushed green leaves known for their natural antibacterial and healing properties. This act of mutual care in times of extreme trauma reinforced their deep psychological connection. True love wasn't built on words of romance, but on real actions of sacrifice and protection. Their old home is destroyed, but as long as they are together, they can rebuild anywhere. They find a new, smaller rock shelter overlooking the safe side of the winding river. The caveman immediately sets to work, striking 2 flint stones together to create a fresh spark. Within minutes, a bright, cheerful new fire dances at the entrance of their new shelter. The cave woman sits by the warmth, feeding the baby while watching her husband work. They have lost their painted wall, but they still have their health, their skills, and their love. This incredible resilience is what allowed early humans to conquer every ecosystem on Earth. They adapted to fires, floods, predators, and ice ages through the power of cooperative pairs. As the night falls over the new valley, the stars shine with incredible, pristine clarity. The small family sleeps soundly, breathing in the fresh, clean air of the untamed planet. Generations will pass, and their descendants will eventually build towering cities of concrete and glass. They will create complex laws, advanced technologies, and digital networks that span the globe. Yet, the core mechanics of human love and attraction will remain exactly the same. We still seek partners who protect us, who provide for us, and who share our burdens. We still look for creativity, intelligence, and emotional reliability in the people we choose. The modern wedding ring is just a continuation of the ancient, polished seashell necklace. The modern dinner date is just a variation of the shared piece of cooked mammoth meat. Our romantic instincts are ancient scripts written by the survivors of the prehistoric world. Honor the wild, primal journey that brought your ancestors together against all impossible odds. For without their simple, silent choices in the dark caves, none of us would be here today. Let us never forget the profound lessons of the very first lovers of human history. They taught us that cooperation is more powerful than any individual physical strength. They showed us that a family is the ultimate shield against a hostile, dangerous universe. As the fire embers slowly fade into gray ash, the story of their love lives on in our DNA. Every heartbeat, every spark of attraction you feel today is an echo of their ancient romance. Walk forward into the modern world with the resilience and passion of a prehistoric survivor. Treasure the connections you make, for they are the most valuable things in human existence. The journey of love is a continuous thread connecting the ancient past to the distant future. Thank you for listening to this incredible, untold chapter of our shared human origin story. May your own modern relationships be as strong as the bonds forged in the prehistoric fires.